In this video I'll be teaching you and showing you how to see the distant monster Easter egg on the map Die Maschine. Now this Easter egg is more an Easter egg for the players that are quite hardcore players inside of zombies, as it does mean you will need to get up to a highish round. First things first, you will need to reach round 40 on the map in order to see this Easter egg. This Easter egg will spawn from round 40 after. Also, I recommend that honestly you do this in a co-op game for the simple reason that you can have one person holding the zombies while the other person just dedicates all their time to looking at this distant monster. Once you reach round 40, in order to see this distant monster Easter egg, you're going to need to enter the Dark Ether. So we will need to find the Dark Ether portal. By this point you should have already built Pack-a-Punch, so the Dark Ether portal should spawn in one of three locations, either down inside the power room, on top of Nukta and Toten, or over down by the pond. So as soon as you find the Dark Ether portal, just enter it like normal, and then as soon as you get into the Dark Ether, head over towards the pond, which is where Quick Revive is located, and you will want to look out in this direction. Eventually, after a few seconds, you should notice your screen will start shaking, and you should also see this silhouette of a ginormous monster walking around in the background outside the map boundary. Now the interesting part about this giant monster is we have a bit more detail to him. Now I know that this is a separate side Easter egg list, but I thought I would put it in here anyway, as this arm is the same arm of the giant monster that is walking around outside the map boundary. So again, if you go into the Dark Ether and you have a Pack-a-Punch weapon and come to the med bay and come to this barrier behind Speed Cola, you will notice there are a load of doors in this corridor. You simply want to shoot your Pack-a-Punch weapon at these doors until the little green lights above them light up. Eventually, when you do all four doors, there will be a light down the corridor that will light up green, and then the door to your left at the front here will have a green glow coming out from it. And what you would normally do this Easter egg is you would shoot the red button with your gun, and then you would get this arm to pick up zombies, so then you could get your free weapon upgrade. However, here I'm not doing that, I'm just showing you off the arm. So here I shoot the red button on the wall, and you can see that this gigantic arm smashes through the door and starts waving about. This arm is actually the arm of the giant monster outside of the map that's walking around. The other thing which I wanted to talk about here, which I will explain also how to get for people, as not many people know how to get this, is we actually have some information on this distant monster Easter egg as well, which is really interesting intel, and we actually have some backstory to this monster now too. So the way you can get this is if you jump into a game of Die Maschine and go up to the control room and interact with this terminal, and when you do this you will get a challenge spawn in. Basically keep doing this until eventually you will see in the reward spot on the left hand side of your screen, rather than saying what the reward is, such as a common or a legendary, it will now have intel as a reward. When you see this pop up on your screen, you'll want to head back to the control room to the terminal where you interact with that in order to get a challenge, and this will reward you with an intel. These are known as the Dark Ether intels. Now this precise intel that tells us more about this giant monster, you will have to work to get this, as this intel is unfortunately random, but eventually you will be able to get the intel from this computer, and then you will be able to see this from inside the main menu of the game under the intel section. But here I have the intel for you, and you can see it here on the screen, and this basically is the intel story that explains about one of these trapped survivors who's trapped in the Dark Ether and has been for some time by the sounds of things, explaining what this giant monster is. I'm excited to see where this story goes with these giant monsters, as they are kind of creepy and very interesting to see. Either way, that's everything you need to know about the giant distant monster Easter egg on Die Maschine. I will leave some gameplay here at the end that basically just shows off the distant monster Easter egg in its full without me talking over it. I also want to thank my teammate RetroSheep08 for giving me a hand with this distant monster Easter egg, as we have run through this quite a few times now, so it's great that he was able to help me out, and especially with the gameplay that you're going to see, seeing as we got to round 40 and I ended up getting a fatal error on my game, so it kicked me out, and then I had to get invited back into his game, and of course he had to do this on his own rather than having someone look after the zombie so he could capture it, which is really annoying. Hey, at least he managed to pull it off, so huge props to him for that as well. I hope you guys enjoy the final gameplay here of showing this off, and I will see you all in the next video very soon.
Anomaly detected.
Dr. Vogel, the upgrades are completed. We are ready for the test. But I ran the numbers again.
Yeah, you are still worried we could have a containment failure.
Keeping the dimensional barrier open that long will redline every system in the cyclotron.